Welcome to Sissygram Lesbian Stories. Step into the world of lesbian romance and queer love, where we unpack the most exciting moments and delve into intricate lesbian relationships. If you like my voice, then hit the like button and subscribe our channel for daily videos. Now, let's start the story. Alina sat at her desk, deeply focused on her work, when suddenly the door opened. Maya walked in, and the atmosphere in the room changed instantly. Confident and elegant, Maya commanded attention as she entered. It was as though she owned the space. Alina, quietly observing, couldn't help but whisper to herself, "They said she was a game changer, but I didn't expect this." For a brief moment, their eyes met, and Alina quickly looked away, her heart racing, sensing that something significant was about to happen. Maya smiled, but there was an edge to her expression. "I'm here to take things to the next level. Who's ready?" she said, her voice dripping with authority. Alina froze, unsure of what Maya meant by this. Later, Alina stood at the counter, stirring her coffee, trying to stay composed, though Maya's presence lingered in her mind. It was as if something was changing between them. As Alina tried to process everything, the door opened again, and there stood Maya, casually leaning against the counter, her relaxed yet commanding aura drawing Alina in. With a playful grin, Maya teased, "You're the only one still drinking coffee at this hour. Do you ever sleep?" Alina laughed nervously, responding, "Not much, but I get the work done." Maya raised an eyebrow, clearly impressed. "I'm sure you do. You're always so on top of things. How do you manage?" Alina shrugged, attempting to maintain her composure. "I just try to stay focused," she replied, but Maya's lingering gaze made her pulse quicken. "Maybe you need to let go a little," Maya suggested with a knowing smile. "Life's too short to be so serious all the time." She moved closer, the electric charge between them palpable. Alina's breath caught, and she tried to hide her nervousness as she muttered, "I'll keep that in mind." The moment lingered, thick with tension, and then Maya's hand brushed against Alina's as she reached for the coffee pot. The brief touch sent a shiver down Alina's spine, and their eyes locked for an instant. "Coffee tomorrow?" Maya's voice was low and inviting. "Just the two of us." Alina hesitated, her heart racing, unsure of what was happening. But before she could stop herself, she nodded and whispered, "Sure, I'd like that." The next day, at a cozy coffee shop, the conversation between them started casually, but quickly turned more intimate. There was an undeniable shift between them, something heavier in the air. "You're usually so guarded," Alina laughed nervously. "I guess I'm starting to trust you a little." Maya leaned forward, teasing, "A little? You're not fully in yet. I'll have to work harder." The teasing tone hid something deeper, something Alina could sense but didn't quite understand. As their hands brushed again, this time lingering, the connection between them became undeniable. "I don't know what's happening here," Alina whispered, more to herself than to Maya. Maya smiled, knowingly, replying, "I think you do, but you're afraid to admit it." At the office the following day, the atmosphere was different. Alina walked in, still replaying the coffee date in her mind when she found Maya waiting by her desk. The tension between them was palpable. Maya casually mentioned, "You seemed distracted during our conversation earlier." Alina, trying to stay calm, explained she had a lot on her mind. Maya, stepping closer, spoke in a softer tone. "You can trust me, Alina. I know what you're feeling." Her words were deep, almost unsettling, as if she could see right through Alina. Before Alina could respond, Maya leaned in just a little too close, her voice low and almost teasing, "You don't have to be afraid of this. Whatever this is, we'll figure it out." Alina froze, caught between wanting to lean in and pull away. The tension reached its peak later that evening. The office was empty, the only sound the hum of the air conditioning. Alina was packing up when she heard the soft click of heels. She turned to find Maya standing in the doorway, her voice calm yet carrying an edge as she asked, long day. The atmosphere shifted as Maya stepped into the room and closed the door behind her, and suddenly, everything felt charged. Maya moved closer, her voice quieter now. "I'm glad you're still here." Her gaze locked with Alina's, and for a moment, the silence between them felt heavy, filled with unspoken words. Then, inch a whisper, Maya confessed, "I've been thinking about you." Alina's heart skipped a beat as she tried to find the right words, but they wouldn't come. The air between them crackled with tension. "I can't pretend I don't feel this," Maya murmured, her hand brushing a stray lock of Alina's hair. The touch sent a wave of emotions through Alina, a mix of desire and fear. Before Alina could process everything, Maya's lips were gently brushing against hers. At first, the kiss was hesitant, almost unsure, but then it deepened, a release of all the tension they had built up. It wasn't just the kiss itself, but everything that led up to it, the stolen glances, the quiet moments, the feelings left unsaid. In that kiss, all of it was there, raw and real, but just as quickly as it began, Maya pulled away, her breath coming fast. Alina, heart racing, couldn't bring herself to speak. "What does this mean?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Maya's eyes softened, and for a moment, the world seemed to stop. She cupped Alina's face gently and, with a steady voice, said, "It means I'm not going anywhere, and neither are you." Maya's words hung in the air, an unspoken promise. But just as they seemed to settle into a moment of peace, Maya's phone buzzed, pulling her back to reality. "We'll talk more about this later," she said quietly, but there was an edge to her voice. Alina couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning, and there was much more to come. The following days were a whirlwind. Alina and Maya continued their private moments, their bond growing stronger, despite the professional distance they maintained at work. One evening, they went for dinner at a quiet bistro, away from the office. As they sat across from each other, their conversation turned to what had been happening between them. Maya confessed her fear that one of them might get hurt if they continued down this path. "I'm scared too," Alina admitted, "but maybe that's why it feels real. We're both afraid, but we're still here." Their conversation was full of vulnerability, and it became clear that they both cared deeply for each other. But then, Maya dropped a bombshell. She had been offered a big promotion in another city. It was an incredible opportunity, but it meant leaving everything behind, including Alina. Alina felt a deep sense of loss, but she didn't want Maya to make the decision alone. "You can't just leave," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Not after everything we've shared." Maya, torn between her career and her feelings for Alina, admitted, "I don't know how to balance both." But then she made a decision. "I'm not taking the job," she said, her voice steady. "You're more important to me than any job." Alina was overwhelmed, relieved, and filled with hope. "I'm glad you're staying," she whispered. The future seemed uncertain, but in that moment, they knew they would face it together. Maya leaned in, kissing Alina gently at first, but deepening the kiss as their connection grew. When they finally pulled away, Maya whispered, "I want this, I want you." And Alina, her heart full, smiled, "I want you too." As the world outside the office seemed to fade away, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. This is where the story ends. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe Sissygram Lesbian Stories and like the video. Also share your experience to motivate others and learn from your experience. We have spent hours to make such content for you. Kindly share with your social media groups to reach more. Thank you. I will see you with next story on this channel. Stay tuned.